Hello everyone, my name is RagingRaptor, your Swiss residential dinosaur here, and I welcome you to a new World of Tanks review. And today it is about the 114 SP2, the new tier 10 Chinese tank destroyer, which is the first tier 10 ranked reward vehicle ever. We only had tier 9s, I guess Wargaming saw money, so we have to do tier 10s now. Which is kind of fine, but also kind of not fine. The whole point is, if I have to break down the 114 SP2 in one sentence, it is not overpowered, but damn do I like it. It is a very weird combination in my point of view. It is basically a mix between the E4 and the Guerrilla 15, while having the mobility of the E4, which is slightly better than what the E4 actually has, with the gun handling, or rather a better gun handling with less accuracy but better DPM with comparable penetration rates to the Guerrilla 15. But you actually have a fully rotating turret. The 114 SP2 is kind of like a tank destroyer, which I really wanted to have for quite some time. It does feel a little bit like, you could basically see it as a fat medium with barely any armor, decent, okayish speed, not decentish, okayish speed, and that's about it. Now, after I've played after I've played 13 games in the tank, I got a 69% win rate, nice, with 3500 DPG in it, and I have to say, we got some lucky, we got sometimes unlucky, as the ball rolls, as the games are trash, as I still did those games during the marathon. So without further ado, I'd say let's jump into the gun. The gun of this tank is its strongest point. It is a 152mm gun with 650 alpha. Yes, not 750, not 850, 650. Same shit the Object V4 has, same shit the Object 705 has. That is pretty interesting, because this is what I always wanted. I wanted to have a TD again in the line of a Jack Tiger gun or the Object 263 gun, not a slow or not a low alpha count like the Stridswagen K, but Stridswagen in general, and not a high alpha gun like the Guerrilla 15, even though I enjoyed this as well. And now we have a decent middle ground with, again, 650 alpha on the AP and APCR rounds and 840 on the HE, which is surprisingly good, because the space rounds only have 273mm of penetration, while the APCR clock in at a 329. Nothing really interesting. Seriously, it's one of the worst penetration rates of any tier 10 tank destroyer. With, well, all due respect to the Foch-B, because the Foch-B is the odd one out, which is only a tiny bit worse than what the 114 SP2 has to offer. However, with 90mm on the HE, we actually have a pretty decent chance of penetrating lightly armored vehicles from the front and from the side, giving us a pretty decent DPM boost as well. Something we didn't need. That thing has a 13.8 second stock reload time. With good crew, with bond equipment, and with rations, you can push that down to 11.1 second. That ekes out at 3500 DPM, while base we already have 2800. That is sublime. That is a genuinely great feeling to have such a high alpha gun with such good DPM. Also, we have pretty decent aim time with 1.9 seconds and pretty decent accuracy of 0.39, allowing us to hit targets rather reliably. The only big issue I am having with this tank is the rather slow-ish AP velocity. Then again, we do have APCR, which is kind of a bummer, because it basically gives you no real reason to shoot AP rounds anymore, except for the APCR actually having worse overmatch mechanics, obviously, because they have worse angle of attack. However, we also have 7 degrees of gun depression, which is okay, you can work with that, but it could be obviously a little bit better. In general, gun handling, you have a 360 degree turret, 180 to each side, 360 all round. I was stupid. And the gun handling on the move is okayish. It's not good, it's okayish. You can work with it, but it could be better, obviously. But it's not as atrocious as what the Guerrilla 15 has. It is comparable to what the E4 has. So if you feel the E4 has bad gun handling, the 114 SP2 is slightly better. But it is, in my opinion, totally a-okay, and the gun platform is a lot of fun to use. What isn't fun to use is its armor. This thing is big, it is chunky, and it has 2000 hit points. With a boosted survivability slot, we get 2200 hit points, and as you can see, damn, that is rare, that has to be great. No, it's 135mm of armor, 75mm of armor, 80mm of armor, 75, 75. That thing is just barely above not being able to get penetrated by HE all the time. And if we compare it now to the T44-100, a notoriously low pen gun, yeah. The modules aren't that bad, like I didn't have the issue of burning all the time or getting ammo racked all the time like some Chinese tank has the issue with, like the WZ1115A. This thing, nah, it doesn't have that big of a problem. It has a crew of 4 men, and it is pretty decent in that regard, so it's a good crew trainer for your tank destroyer line if you ever want to do that, because it's one of the... It's not a bad tank destroyer line, but it's... it doesn't have anything going for it. But the thing is, it's barely above an easy lol pen, you know. You bounce maybe rarely if you get lucky 1 or 2 rounds, but please do not carry... please do not count on it. The only good thing about this armor is, again, that you cannot get penetrated by HE that easily against enemy normal tanks like the Griddle 15. The Griddle 15 just gets swatted by HE. Moving on to the mobility. The mobility is a rather mixed bag. On paper it looks okay, 45k page top, 18k page in reverse, 15.56 HP per ton ratio, all good. Traverse speed pretty decent, actually better than the gun or turret traverse. The turret traverse is a little bit slow, but with your hull you don't really have a problem, you will never get circled around. And again, 360-degree turret. The problem is it has absurdly bad terrain resistances. That means you get fucked. You basically don't ever get that effective top speed. The other problem is, because it's a TD, it doesn't get the mobility slot, aka if you want to boost that tank with mobility, you would need to use a bond turbo, because the normal turbo cannot get boosted by a mobility slot. You can obviously use a normal turbo, but it's a little bit lackluster in that regard. So yeah, the mobility, I wished the terrain resistances would have been that bad to make it stand out from the E4, but that's just how it is. We have to accept this. It's still decent, but it could be a lot better. It's basically a little bit like the IS-7. The IS-7 also really suffers through bad terrain resistances. And lastly, concealment and spotting. It is actually pretty stealthy. It has 20% more camouflage than what the Gorilla 15 has to offer. Like in-game 20%, not just 20% more. It's more than double actually, if you want to be precise. So that's pretty good. And the view range with 390 is totally acceptable. Obviously you could use binos or optics on this vehicle with a spotting slot to give it more spotting. You could also obviously use something to make it more stealthy if you really want to. I do think it is not that important, so yeah. It is stealthy enough, it can double push reliably, and it has pretty good camo with a good crew. But obviously you are not going to be a Stridswagen type of tank. You are still rather chunky, but you are long and not high, which is going in its favor. Let's wrap this tank up. Once again, I have to say, this tank probably is going to be my new favorite tank in World of Tanks. Not because it's overpowered, not because it's amazing, it's just unique enough and totally hits the spot I really enjoy. Sniper TDs with decent mobility and a high DPM gun with decent alpha. It is actually something which I miss at the moment on tier 10. I still miss the Object 263 on tier 10. We sadly don't have it anymore. Yes, the armor is shit on the 114 SP2. Yes, the accuracy is still sometimes a little bit lackluster. Yes, the armor is... But still, I think this is a tank we can all agree on is not like the Concept 1B. It is not going to break tier 9. And it's not like a Kampfpanzer 50T, which is incredibly strong. So I do like the approach of this vehicle. It is unique, it is nicely balanced, and I'm genuinely looking forward to. Do I recommend it to anybody? No, not really. Really only if you enjoy tanks like this, if you enjoy the sniper-esque gameplay or enjoy the proper map management to go around, use your decent mobility and notice where you have to go and where you shouldn't go, while also rewarding decent aim with your keys and mouse. And that is why I have to say, for me, it's the perfect tank. It is for me a very nice and very cool tank. For most people, I don't know, is it worth to suffer through 6 weeks of ranked? Hard to tell. If you enjoy ranked, maybe. If you don't enjoy ranked, hard to say. Because the Combat 1B truly was and is incredibly strong and in my opinion overpowered. The Kampfpanzer 50T is incredibly strong. Not really overpowered, but it is very strong. Maybe borderline OP. The one for SP2, no. It is just going into the line of your sniper, support, tank destroyers with a twist, which is 650 alpha with incredible DPM. My name is RagingRaptor, thank you so much for watching. I hope this review helped you, and if it did, leave a thumbs up, like, share, subscribe. Very important to make this channel grow bigger. Thank you so much for watching. I see you around.